Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1291, written by Printmaker. The $1.99 burrito that defied the laws of physics. About 10 years ago, I took a job in Bolivia and had to get some vaccinations for my visa requirements. Like many Americans, I had no insurance and was going to a MedPlus clinic that is attached to some select locations of a major grocery store chain where I live. I called ahead and drove an hour to one, only to arrive and find that I was misinformed and they were out of the vaccine. They sent me to another store about 30 minutes further away that they assured me had the one they were holding for me. I got to the next destination and again, they were out and referred me to another store yet another 40 minutes further away. Frustrated and hungry, I walk over to the little food and deli area and get a chicken tender lunch with mashed potatoes and corn. They put the food in white clamshell box, print the barcode sticker out, and tape it over the closed lid on the to-go box, grab some plasticware and reach out to hand it to me, and I decide last minute to also add one of those deep fried burritos that are orange from all their greasy fried goodness. I watch the person peel back the label to open the box, grab the burrito in a little paper sleeve, and put the burrito into the to-go box and print the additional label for the burrito, which they again slapped over the seam to seal the lid back. This happened in plain view to me as I'm hungrily eyeballing all the movements of this food. I was the only person in line and they were the only person behind the counter. Now, this is where things get weird. They had partially covered the old label with the new one, and when I walked over to the register, they only scanned one and it rang up as just the price of the burrito. I had one of those gut feelings that happens rarely in life where you can actually feel the wheels of reality turning. It was palpable. I was very aware that the price was wrong, and I viscerally felt like my moral compass was being tested, and I chose to let it ride and only paid the $1.99 instead of what should have been about $12, because after all, this grocery chain had already wasted about 2 hours of my time, and who really cares about $10, so why not? Thing is, it just felt wrong. I can't explain it any more than that. I get in the car and head to my next destination to finally, hopefully, get my shots and be done with it. About 20 minutes down the road, I'm stuck in stop-and-go traffic, so I peel back the label and crank the box open to grab the burrito because I can eat it safely while driving and it's not there. Which doesn't compute at all because it has to be there. I checked again. Definitely don't see it. I paw around in the tenders, I stick my fingers in the mashed potatoes to make sure that it's not somehow hiding under them, even though that's not really possible. I pull off on the side of the road. I look on the floor under the seat. I open the box flat on the seat like a book and proceed to shuffle the entire contents of tenders, corn, and mashed potatoes from one side to the other. There's no burrito. I called the deli counter. She remembers me and vaguely recalls what I ordered and assures me that nothing was left behind. Mostly, she is confused more than anything as to why I'm asking if somehow she didn't put it in the box or if they found a burrito laying around somewhere because it escaped. It was just gone. So basically, I just sat there on the side of the road, hands covered in mashed potatoes, eating my chicken tenders, musing over the nature of reality, trying to reconcile the two divergent empirical truths I was experiencing. Just sat in total silence for about 10 minutes. Then I wiped off my hands, buckled up again, and drove on. Case answer file 1291. The $1.99 burrito that defied the laws of physics. Ah, I see. What you're dealing with here is the Chris Angel of burrito tricks. Sleight of hand. Fooled ya. But no, seriously, if this was a test, and it legitimately may have been, I don't think it's irreconcilable even though you failed it. I think most would, after so many chained, frustrating events leading you in circles like a Ferris wheel, and then it's kind of a minor bad thing to do, $10 of thievery, sort of. If it was a test, my gut is telling me that your guardian angel, well, whoever is looking out for you, wants to get to know you better. I don't think our guardian angels are so all-knowing. They need to understand who we are, what can push our buttons, so as to be best served in protecting us. Bodyguards in these days too, they get to know the person they're protecting. You have to learn their patterns, what they like, what their weaknesses are, and so on. I am very keen on the notions of guardian angels these days, but this could also be a classic case of DOP, Burrito style. The lady at the counter made a mistake in scanning just the burrito code. That wasn't a glitch, you just got lucky in paying little for a full meal. At the same time, that burrito did exist then, but between then and you opening the meal to dig in, it just vanished. So it appeared probably in a different place on the planet or in a different universe. In one of those, you're driving along and you have 2 burritos. Twice the fried goodness. Yeah, shame you weren't in that universe. The me in another universe where the burrito went over there, I would be reading the same glitch, but instead of having no burrito, me in another universe is just reading basically the same glitch by the same person, but it's just an extra burrito instead of not. Case file number 1292, written by Social Dropout. The perfect row of dominoes that saved our lives. It's like the universe aligned to keep me safe. I was living with my recent ex and his best friend. Bad time in my life. They went out clubbing to a town a good 10 to 15 miles away. They came back in the morning with a random stranger they met and an exotic worker. I slept on the sofa that night, and I woke up to that random stranger, male, poking his head around the door and saying hello to me. He told me where he lived, which was a fair drive away, how he got to my house, and what they were doing upstairs, and asked if he could get some water and borrow a cigarette. We ended up sitting outside talking. Like I said, crazy, messed up time in my life. He started telling me how pretty I was, and he couldn't believe what my ex was doing, and how great he'd treat me if I was his girlfriend. At one point, he attempted to cut "I love my name" into his chest with a knife, and told me he was going to buy the house next door because he could. Pretty sure he wasn't sober at the time. A friend came and picked him up a couple of hours later. Fast forward 6 to 8 months. I was now homeless and sofa surfing. It was around 1 a.m. Me and a friend I was sofa surfing with decided to make the short walk to the 24 hours to get some cigarettes. Halfway there, we ran into a gang of lads, about 10 to 12 of them, and they started pulling me and my friend away from each other. My heart's racing remembering this. They did not have good intentions for us. My friend started screaming for me, and then I saw him? The stranger from my house from months ago. He noticed me and told them to stop and leave us alone. They did. He was part of the group. I don't know how. My guess is he was related or knew someone from there. We ended up making it through that morning safe, and I've never seen him again. I don't know what might have happened to us if I hadn't met him that morning at my house, or if my ex met someone different and brought them home. If I didn't have any cigarettes to lend him that got us talking. If he decided to stay home that day. If any small thing was different that day, me and my friend at the worst may not have been here today and, at the least, be traumatized from what they planned to do to us. I felt like the most unluckiest girl, but also lucky and alive. Case notes file 1292. The perfect row of dominoes that saved our lives. I can say there are times when protection is given to us in subtle ways, almost as a whisper, meant to be known and yet not seen exactly, such as in this case. So many little dominoes had to fall in order for you to meet that exact person at the exact time to offer him cigarettes, as you say, and for him to not exactly be a good person if he's part of this group that wanted to harm 2 girls. And yet, because you knew him, he felt a weird connection, enough to get the group to spare both of you? How does this happen, really? Are we dealing with random chance? It's possible. Is there some higher being, an angel, your guardian angel, or developer, trying to guide this meeting months ago? With their kind of crystal ball that can see possible future events, noticing one that kept occurring to you and trying to prevent it from happening in this universe. Not every low-chance event will be from some external being. Important to keep that in mind. Coincidences really do happen, but sometimes they're just so astounding it's hard to believe they're coincidences. I choose to believe that there's more going on in this case. And now time for the quote of the day. Anybody can sympathize with the sufferings of a friend, but it requires a very fine nature to sympathize with a friend's success. Oscar Wilde. There is something in us where if we see a friend, or really anyone, but especially someone we know, do well, progress in their life, it almost feels like they're leaving us behind. Of course, that's not what they're doing. The idea isn't to leave you behind. If they're a good friend, then you're still tethered. And maybe the tether has some give, so it can stretch, but no matter what, you're still pulled along. So it goes both ways. If your friend suddenly becomes extremely successful and doesn't share anything with you, if you're destitute, and a good friend isn't going to let you starve or anything like that, it doesn't mean they owe you their bounty and their wealth, but I'm just saying that the cord does stretch, but it does pull you along a bit too. If you're feeling jealous about their success, I think it ultimately speaks about your own perception of your value and you don't believe that you can succeed then. Because if someone else succeeds, it doesn't mean that you won't succeed. Lower self-worth and just no hope that you're going to be able to succeed yourself. Look internally if that's how you feel when someone else succeeds and just think, okay, am I going to be able to succeed in what I'm doing? And if not, maybe try something else. The anger you're feeling or the frustration is not about them. It's about you. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.